Sorry about that hiccup, guys. Anyway, I am playing in a world I previously generated. You can see its name right here. And, I'll wait for that to load. I'll get my Legends browser open. Let's see, links, utilities, Legends viewer, excuse me. As you can see, it's currently going through the months. I think it does 2 weeks. Let me check my processor. Yeah, I'm still good to go. Because I'm not recording locally anymore, it's not holding up near as much as it previously did. So now I load the Legends viewer. Which one was from today? Today's the 14th, so that one. What I have currently enabled and disabled is my population cap is only 120. The strict population cap of 150. I don't know why I'm circling this. You can't see it. Cave-ins, weather, artifacts, temperature, and entombed pets are all activated, but aquifers are not. By graze coefficient, which is how often grazing animals need to eat, I have tripled it because I don't know if elephants are still, if they require still too much space or not, but they're not the only ones, and that they'll starve to death if you don't have a high enough grazing thing. So I have raised that, so hopefully that doesn't happen. For utilities, I have my Legends viewer up, and that is mostly because I will be using it to view what happened to my last fort that I abandoned before, well, I didn't abandon it, I retired it in order to start a new game in this world for you guys, so that you could be there from the beginning. I was part of the Palisades of Morning's civilization, Palisade, excuse me, and it had like one dwarf left when I started it up. I have gotten its population up to 73. That's not counting the current leadership, which I don't think it ever counts. But whoever that one dwarf is, they're surviving in their own little camps somewhere far east of mine. And when I get the chance, I'll show you where they both are on the main world map. Right now I'm still in Legends viewer. If I could show it to you guys with my current setup, I would. But right now it's just not working properly. I haven't had time to figure out why not. So my settlement was called Diamond Portal. That was the name of the fortress. That was random. And then when I saw that, I decided to name the local government the Bejeweled Book. So let's go click on Diamond Portal. And this is just a quick rundown of what all happened during it. I've got, right now in Legends, it's listed as having 4 structures, which it does. It's got 2 temples, the Covenant of Clutching, which is a public temple, the Temple of Patterning, which is a temple that only a vampire I've got locked in a workspace has access to, just so that they'll have a lower chance of going insane. I've got the Strapping Pumpkin Tavern Inn and the Golden Throne Library. There was only one notable conflict, which is called the Fierce Siege, as part of the riddled conflict by the Constructive Twigs against the Bejeweled Book. And it was a pair of necromancers showed up, and I have no idea how they died. I got the message, I looked around for them, didn't see them, and then a while later they were just corpses in my stockpile. It's got 72 dwarves in it, 2 visitors, 2 human visitors, 1 dwarf visitor. Apparently has 3 reptile man outcasts and a forgotten beast outcast. I don't know how that happened. There are 11 dogs, 7 cats, 5 sheep, 1 giant coati, which is, they like to steal things, but I was taming them. 1 chicken, 1 guinea fowl, 1 blue pea fowl, a rabbit, a duck, and a goat. Most of those ones, except for the giant coati, were pets that came with, so I didn't butcher them. I founded it in 125 in early spring, and then just a whole bunch of people embarked. We've got some artifact messages, which I got 2 artifact animal traps, an artifact barrel, an artifact coffin, and for the life of me I can't remember what the last one is. Oh, an artifact wolf leather vest of some kind. Don't remember everything about it. I'll see if I can find it eventually. We were attacked by an Etten, which we killed without any casualties other than almost all my sheep, which is why we only have the 5 sheep. We also lost the one remaining ram. The other one was lost to a giant cougar, I believe. Giant cat of some kind. And I'm just making sure nothing, oh, it was artifact pants called the Grey Yawn. I'll open those up in here in a second. I'm going to look at all the artifacts before we get on to our own new game. Nothing apparently major happened in those 2 weeks because the last entry here says, in 127 early summer, the Bejeweled Book of the Palisade of Mornings and the settlement of Diamond Portal regained their senses after an initial period of questionable judgment. Which is what happens after every time you retire. I was tempted to abandon, but as my goal is to rebuild this lost civilization, I did not do that. Let's see, the Grey Yawn was the last... the Grey Yawn was the legendary wolf leather trouser. I can't get any more information about that. I'm going to go see what all... if I can find any of the others. Scrolling up and all through this stuff. There's too much of it, and I know I cannot sing, but I tend to do that when I'm trying to find something. Oh, here's one. The Holy Race. That's the artifact barrel. Keep going. Risk Crack the Golden Folds. That's an artifact coffin. I missed one of the animal traps because it's a little tiny symbol. There it is. The Aquamarine Guild, even though it didn't have any aquamarine on it. It had Zircon. And then Scalded Realm, that's a yak bone, I believe it was, artifact toy. It's a mini forge. And then the Flaxing Kin, that's the other animal trap. That's everything of note that happened here. Now, I can get to the main world map and compare. The embark location I was at last time was here. This is Diamond Portal. It had a fair amount of iron, copper, gold, and tons of flex stones, so I had a pretty good military. This tower here is where they came from. I believe it's over here. This is the goblin. There's a goblin cave over here, if I remember correctly. And let me go back into the Legends viewer and open up Toggle Sites. Yes, that is, it has 110 kobolds and 3 gorlaks. The Acromancer Tower still has 8 dwarves, 2 elves, and 1 human, not counting the 2 that mysteriously died, with 47 animated dwarves and 19 animated elves. Now, I was surprised I got attacked by an Etten and not a Cyclops, because if I scroll down just a little bit, I'm getting things overlapping, down to here, there is an Etten's lair somewhere in here. Right next door, there's a giant black bear lair, and then there's a giant leopard lair. There was all kinds of neat stuff nearby. There's a hill titan, another cyclops, some bandit camps, and then mostly civilizations. Now I'm going to open up the civilization screen. And these are the civilizations from top to bottom. There's the Blameless Walls, who are big over in this area and apparently have a site down over here. I don't know how or why, because I wasn't part of them. Got the Abyssal Still, who's way up there. Got the Stirred Quake, who is one of the bigger ones, I believe, in population. Let me look to see who's the biggest in population. The biggest dwarf civilization in population would be... the Blameless Walls, 7,299 dwarves. And then the Palisade of Mornings, where I think I'm the only site left at this point. Possibly. Let me go back to the Legends viewer. Palisade of Mornings. Now it shows that there's another one far to the east. However, I don't think it has enough population to be notable, because it's showing it over in this area-ish, I think. Yeah. It's around in here somewhere from about here to there. It's a little hard to tell because the maps are a little bit different. Oh, alright, there. Now I should be able to find it. It's over here. It's one of these two. I don't know which one. And this is the one I'm working on rebuilding. So as you can see, it's got the major population center over here, which is relatively stable. And then there's the Furnace of Watches, the Clear Fountain, Ink of Zeniths, which is extinct almost. It's got one dwarf left, like this one. However, those islands up there don't have near as many interesting things. Blanketed Bodies, which is all surrounding my other little location over here, and the Hairy Gate. If I keep... I need to reset back to Palisade Mornings. If I tab over to here, we are at war with elves, and we have hostile goblins. I never got besieged by the elves, but I hadn't yet hit the population thing of 80, so I expect this fort to eventually get hit by the elves. Hopefully it'll survive, because the Palisade of Mornings used to be one of the bigger civilizations, but they're losing this war to the elves, and I don't understand how. Now, these islands over here, like, mountains will block travel, but as you can see, this central continent has everybody. Down here, there's only dwarves or goblins, because your dwarves can always reach you. Down here in this frozen tundra wasteland, there's only dwarves. This little island over here, which I considered is all dwarves, so it'd only be flying or swimming forgotten beasts that would hit here, and that would be boring for you guys. Up here, I don't believe there's any elves, but there are towers and goblins. Oh, nope, there are elves. Apparently there are ice elves up here somewhere, because I'm going to assume they're in the far north. Yeah. This is still part of that main continent. Are these the volcanoes? No, they aren't. I'm looking for a volcano to embark on, so if I miss it when I embark, scream at me in the comments, because this will be going up on YouTube. And then this over here, it's dwarves with non-hostile elves and a tower. There's no goblins. So which means I'm going to be settling on this continent again somewhere. Now, I was tempted to settle around in here, but I've been down in here, so I'm going to keep looking for a better site. There we go. Now, when I gen this world, I set everything was on default, except for obviously the world history started at 125. My savagery was turned as high as it goes, and minerals were bumped up one step. And this is because I like having high savagery. So, now I just got to find another good place. Now, the reason I have DF hacked open primarily is because I'm going to, what's it called? Prospect, that's the word I'm looking for. Because I want to make sure I have a site where I can get some kind of weapons without having to rely on traders. And that's about it. It's not the challenge some people want, but it's the way I work. And now, I do prefer high savagery areas, but that doesn't mean I'm going to do them every time. This area, for instance, I might embark on because it's got this, I think this is a freshwater lake. It should tell me. Yep, temperate freshwater lake, and it's considered wilderness. This I don't know how dangerous it is to embark on lakes, as I have never actually done one. So I'm actually highly considering this one, which is back near the original one, so I'm kind of spreading the civilization out thin a little bit. Over here is conifer forest, and it's wilderness for the most part, as far as I can tell. Yeah, it's all wilderness. There is a... It doesn't want to tell me. I don't know what that is. I'll have to go over stream leading in from this angle. Where'd it go? Where's my lake? Oh, there we go. And then down. Oh, it doesn't want to tell me because they're there. This is also a stream. So, my choices are this conifer forest, this rocky wasteland over here, or this shrubland. I'm probably going to go with the forest, but I'm going to do a little I'm also not going to be embarking on the streams because when they flow into other things like that, it tends to create issues. So instead, I'll probably be like up here or off to one of the sides. So give me a second to do some prospecting. Now I'm going to do prospect all instead of just prospect. This won't show if there's adamantite, but with a 4x4 like what I've got, you're guaranteed adamantite. You're supposed to have it every 2x2, but if you're off center, there's a chance not to get any, but it's pretty rare. So in gemstones, we've got, I'm only going to go down to anything above about 500. Purple spinels, praise, brown zircons, lapis lazuli, black opal, yellow zircon, pyrite, red zircon, crystal rock, oh, there's no sand, never mind, pink tourmaline, rubisil, turquoise, indigo tourmaline, moonstones, more zircon, this time it's black, spinal red, or red spinal, excuse me, amethysts, black pyrope, clear zircon, aquamarine, and that's where the 500 stop, and it just drops really quickly from there. Apparently there are some diamonds somewhere, but there's only like, well, there's 190. And they're _FY, which I don't know which diamond variant that is, but if I can find those, diamonds are, you know, obviously really valuable. Ores, tetrahedrite, that's copper and silver, there's a ton of it. Native gold and garniterite. I don't remember what garniterite is for, so let me go look that up. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but it looks close enough to me, and that's all I care about, is getting close enough. It's a nickel ore, which is, this isn't exactly a great site for native weapons. Copper is the worst of the metals. If there was tin, I could do bronze, but there's no tin that I can see. So instead, I'm going to move around. Generally, these areas have very similar prospects, but I'm hoping. Let me look at. Yes, okay, so there's plenty to tunnel into the walls with. There's also, most of its stone, it looked like, was flux metal. It's got, I don't know how to pronounce that, so I'm going to go with Genesis. Phyllite, gabbro, granite, schist, a lot of marble, and a lot of diorite. So, if there was any iron ore, that one would have been good. Let's look at this corner. This corner, a lot of the same kind of things. Oh, rose quartz. That wasn't in the other one. So I hit turquoise, clear zircons, rubisil, aquamarine, indigo tourmaline, moss opal. Nope, it's still tetrahedrite, native gold, and garniterite. Well, we're going to have to keep looking. There's plenty of lakes in this area down here for me to try. Like this one. This is Badlands up here, which means it's not going to have any... Look, as you can see, it's got no vegetation, no trees, and they won't tend to get... this is all calm down here. I don't want calm. Calm is boring. So, I might reduce this instead of a 4x4 to a 3x4, just so that I can run the fort a bit longer. More wilderness, but this is a tiny lake. That works. I was hoping to mix some Badlands in. This is temperate shrubland, which before I embark, I'll go to the wiki and tell you what all is here. Because this, I've got a lot of time in Dwarf Fortress, but I've only ever gotten the basics down. I've never been able to survive an invasion of the clowns. I barely get to touch cotton candy. I've never done a mega project. I don't know how power works in this. I know how some of the basics with the windmills and water wheels, but I don't know how to set up big complex systems like some people have set up, almost like you can do in Minecraft with redstone. Simple, very simple computers within the world using pipes and pressure plates and water wheels and all kinds of other shenanigans. I would like to be able to do that eventually. So let's go ahead and prospect here. So, the gems is Goshenite, which I have never heard of before. That's a gemstone I have never heard of. So let's come look on the wiki what Goshenite is. This is going to take a while to set up. Goshenite is it's a type of barrel. Let's see what it looks like on just Google proper. Oh, it looks a lot like quartz stone, like the clear quartz. Purple spinel, crystal rock, rose quartz, clear zircon, topaz, red zircon, brown zircon, amethyst, rubisil, praise, yellow spessartine, pink tourmaline, Morian pyrite, smoky quartz, red pyrope, heliodor, lapis lazuli, yellow zircon, milk quartz, black opal, red spinel, red tourmaline, black zircon, turquoise, pink garnet, blue garnet, and clear garnet. What, no normal garnet? Do I have to get some rubies and sapphires on my own? Damn. Oh well. It's got a lot of native gold, a lot of native silver, tetrahedrite, galena, which I believe is lead, limonite, that's what we're looking for. It has iron, and a fair amount of it. It's got peat, loamy sand, sandy clay, loam, silt loam, yellow sand, red sand, rock salt is an entire layer. Phyllite, quartzite, genesis, gabbro, marble, schist, slate, diorite, and granite. Now, if any of you are concerned that I don't list adamantite or slate or any of that, it's guaranteed to be at the bottom on this overmap. It doesn't display it because when you go in, I think it generates semi-randomly. I'm not positive. I don't know a ton about how this game works. Now, I tend to use a lot of points because I want a stable embark with the fun coming from what I encounter. So I'm going to use DF hack to set my points to about 10,000, just so I've got enough for what I plan to do. And normally I start with 8 dwarves instead of 7, just so I can have a dedicated hunter. But today I'm only going to have the 7 dwarves. And so we're going to, let's see, that's temperate grassland, temperate shrubland, and temperate freshwater lake. So we'll go in and we'll see what all will generate. And I said laker instead of lake. Lakes, DF 2014. Let's see what you can find coming out of lakes. That is not vermin. The vermin I don't care about. This is wilderness, which is the neutral level, so it's not savage as much as I would like it to be. We can get alligator snapping turtles, beavers, carp, common snapping turtles, a goose. This isn't tropical, so we cannot get hippos. We can get a long-nosed gar. We can get loons. I don't know what a loon is. Oh, it's a type of bird. Oh, I've heard of loons. If I can actually capture them, they'd be nice. They're not good for egg production, but they produce the same amount of butchering as a turkey. Milkfish is tropical only. Mink, osprey, pike, river otter, sea lamprey, sponges. Oh my god, not the sponges. And swans. And that's just from the lake. We also have a grassland, which I will be looking at. I'm just waiting for it to load. Let's see. In temperate grasslands, we can get badgers, buzzards, elk. That's good. Groundhogs, horses. That's good. Musk oxes. A rhesus macaw. I really like getting the rhesus macaws because they've got a decent pet value. And I just like the idea of dwarves having a bunch of monkeys in their fort. Musk oxes, Gemtemple wagons are used as pack animals. They have a decent value multiplier, and they yield hooves, which is always useful for crafts. They aren't well known, so taming won't usually be automatic, but they do require a pasture to survive. Obviously. They produce a fair amount of meat and the like. Bones, skull, hooves, skin. Do I have the thing here which increases the amount of leather you get based off The skin you get based off the size of the creature. No, I'm going to have to see if that's save compatible, because if it is, I will be adding it for the next stream. We are not savage, we are not evil. And if I triple check, I don't think it's temperate, no. Tropical. And then we have, it was shrubland, wasn't it? It was. So we're going to have some temperate shrubland. Now, the reason I like these woodland areas isn't for the amount of wood, but the amount of fruit. Because I like to run my forts off that fruit. So now we're going to look at shrubland. And it has cougars, which are nice. I believe you can train those for war. Coyotes, also nice. Kia, kestrels, great horned owls, groundhogs, again, more rhesus macaws, and wolves. Now, if this was a good temperate shrublands, unicorns could show up, and they are very, very valuable. I love starting breeding programs for unicorns. But I haven't embarked on a... you can't train them without modding, apparently. So I must be used to having a mod. They produce a lot of meat, 10 to 22, so they're even bigger than the musk oxes. A lot of fat, brain, eyes, skull, hooves, horns, and skin. Probably also, if I embark on a good area, I'm going to see if a mod detain them is save compatible. I believe that you just go in and change that in the raws, and it's not that hard. But unicorns can also be fairly dangerous. Think cabin in the woods. Although that's not very common. Cougars, let's see. Rare, solitary, large cats that live in shrub and woodlands. Equal in size to the average dwarf. They rarely attack your dwarf instead of preferring to wander far from your fortress. They can be captured and trained by an animal trainer. Worth twice as much as domestic animal parts. It would be very difficult to establish a breeding program unless elves happen to breed a breeding pair. Unfortunately, they, unlike a lot of big cats, they cannot receive war or hunting training. Though that is easily remedied. I have done that myself, and I might go in and do that again. I don't know if it will retroactively apply. Again, I have to check this stuff after this stream is over, which I'm going to go until about 5 o'clock my time, so there's another hour. So I've got to get through this quickly. I'm almost done. Coyotes, 2 to 10. Most people don't realize that coyotes are just as social, if not more social, than wolves. They're just less specialized. They cannot be trained except by adding a trainable tag. They're too small to do significant damage or help defend your fortress for much. I like that'll make them good for hunting. 7 to 11 meat, 7 to 11 fat. They don't produce sweet bread, which is a shame, but bones and skulls are always nice because I tend to have my hunters, until I get a good copper industry going for the bolts, rely on bone bolts. And sometimes wood bolts, but that takes forever to kill something. Then we got the Kia. Kia are, or keys, I don't know how to pronounce that. They're small flying pets that like to steal valuable items, like cloth gems, bars, crossbow bolts, even wheelbarrows, and sometimes an anvil. How this thing steals an anvil, I don't know. You figure that out. They've got dwarven magic in them, even though they're not dwarves. You need to put if there's a lot of them if there's any when I first show up, I'm going to have to make sure that when I get my meeting area set up, it's big enough to meet an emergency stockpile for all the stuff I brought. Because I don't want them running off. They can draw blood on dwarves and small pets. A large group can beset the wagon, but if I have the carpenters and the woodcutter and the miners there, they should be able to fight them off, which will give them some useful skills for if I have to draft a military. Kestrels are a tiny bird of prey. They mostly eat rodents and mice. If they're tameable, they might be they are tameable. Pet value 25. They might be able to hunt like cats do, so I can avoid a cat explosion with them. They don't. While they're a type of falcon, kestrels don't share the same vermin hunting abilities as the peregrine falcon, which I believe is only woodland. Nope. Can be found in almost every biome, excluding oceans, glaciers, and tropical rainforests. So there's a chance for me to find them, although they spawn one at a time, and occasionally dive down to kill vermin on the ground, and they're benign to other creatures. They're all born with legendary